what has the Bank Nifty done? The Bank Nifty has put a solid 1-year gain, and the gain I think has been slightly unreal, at least in the PSU and the banking stocks. Now, if you look at the outperformance in banks I think is here, and the outperformance is real. But the pace of the rally in banks now in the second half of the year will not be as formidable as what we've seen in last 1 year. I think that is my limited point, which is that the bank Nifty is up 5% in this month, while Nifty is up 2.5%. So banks, they continue to outperform, and I think the outperformance here to stay. It is only the pace what we're talking about which may just get slightly compromised. I would still say that PSU banks have a long way to go because they've garnered good deposit franchise. I would still say that within the large cap banking space, I think right at the top of the heap is going to be HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank. For me, Axis and others, they may be lying low. How I see things moving in the interim is that large banks will outperform, large PSUs will do well, but smaller PSU banks as well as mid-tier private banks now may be running into rough weather. I was looking at commentary from AU. They're feeling the heat of what's happening to the credit growth. Federal Bank has already indicated that they're feeling the heat of credit growth. We're already getting a sense from other smaller banks, also mid-tier banks also, that it's not that everything is hunky-dory and this is like a real great hunting ground for them to grow. No. So there is going to be change in the way how the credit cycle is going to be moving in next 2-3 years, and that's what you need to materialize on. The credit cycle is strong, but banks who are getting CASA and good balance sheet, they will grow, and that is with large banks.
Okay, there you have it. That's the outlook coming in when it comes to the overall banking sector, and PSU banks have certainly had a robust run. But it's a busy week as well on the earnings front, and just taking stock of the kind of numbers that have been delivered and the performance from each of these categories. Just looking at a pretty promising set of numbers that's been delivered by Tata Consumer. We also saw Bajaj Auto that delivered a fairly healthy set of earnings, and Anant Raj Industries. There's mid-majority of earnings that have come in this week that are in line with street expectations, like a Nippon India as well as Mahindra Life Spaces, AU Small as well as Mahindra CIE, and it's been disappointing to say the least for a Dalmia Bharat, VST Industries as well as a Rallis India. So Nikunj, just taking stock of the entire earnings scorecard as well that have come in of the Nifty earnings, 10 out of 50 this week, and it has been fairly optimistic in terms of the fact that majority have come in above what the street was expecting.
Yeah, you keep IT aside, and especially that holler from Infosys, it's not like anything has really warranted a massive downgrade so far. If at all, if you frankly ask me, the commentary which we got from a Tata Consumer or a Bajaj Auto and even Nestle yesterday mid-market, they were impressive. I mean, these are consumer companies. They are, in a sense, the businesses which have been worst hit. They've been strongly hit with what is happening in terms of what is happening to the entire consumer space and on the commodity front, but they've come out with flying colors, and that for me I think is the real real big picture, which is that four Nifty 50 companies have come out with their good numbers, and a lot of heavyweights. While the number may be important here, Anisha and Avan, I think it's the weightage which also is important, because this includes a Reliance, Infosys and an HDFC Bank. So while the number may be 10, but in terms of weightage it is almost 40-50. So in terms of 40-50% weightage, if you look at it granularly, it means that numbers are in line or better. There's no earnings downgrade. You don't want to see an earnings downgrade. What have we seen? Q1, Q2, Q3. You've seen earnings downgrade. FY23 estimates have been slashed down, they've been hunkered down, and valuations did not come down. Now you are at a stage where valuations have become reasonable. Global markets, you're outperforming, flows are back, and earnings downgrade cycle has started, which means FY25 estimates now will be pumped up.
Looks like it, at least as you pointed out. Apart from Infosys, there is no major big disappointment that has come in, and that will get factored into the Nifty EPS estimates for the year and ultimately show in the valuation, which, as it is, a lot of brokerages have been talking about, has become quite reasonable as compared to what's happening across the globe. Let's quickly take stock of some of the big earnings that we saw overnight as well, and what the brokerages are making of it, especially with respect to Bajaj Auto. We have seen quite a bit of upgrades come by for Bajaj Auto. In fact, Morgan Stanley for instance, is maintaining an overweight. The target has been up to 5,063, and they say it's a better mix that has driven the EBITDA this time around. They've actually raised the estimates of EPS by 8%, and they say that recovery in exports is one of the key catalysts for the stock going forward. JP Morgan believes that EV sales could be the big catalyst and the re-rating trigger going forward. Their target stands at 5,150. They are saying don't wait for the catalyst to play out. You'll miss out on the rally. It's better to stay overweight at this point of time. And that's why they've not only raised the EPS estimates by 4 to 6%, they've also increased the multiples to from 16 times earlier to 18 times now. So that's a big, thumbs up coming in for Bajaj Auto. But what about the other earnings, the likes of Tata Consumer, as well as the other brokerages and result reactions, Avan?
Absolutely. I mean, you have a whole host of numbers that did come out, and today as well, it's going to be interesting in terms of the numbers that we will be tracking. You've got Maruti Suzuki that's going to come out with its earnings this time around. Margins could potentially claw back, post above 10% after a dismal Q2 FY20. After Q2 FY21 is when we're seeing the margin come back. In terms of what we're penciling in as well for Bajaj Finance, you've got the numbers that will be coming out, and the street is expecting that yes, provisions could come in lower this time around, but a moderation in margins, an uptick in NII, that is going to be on the cards. You've also got something like an HDFC Life that's going to report its numbers today. The gross premium income is likely to be higher by about 25% at about 18,000 crore rupees. And SBI Life is the other one that's going to come out with its numbers today. And we're expecting this time around that the gross premium income could be higher by 23%, and profits are seen at about 830 crore rupees, Anisha.
Okay, so